This Hangout Air is now live. Yes, welcome everybody. This is the regular meeting of RFM at Agile Ventures. It's Federico and me, and we just discussed what kind of things we want to discuss, like the recent deployed graph visualization of similarities between broadcasts, and maybe ways of improving this. Federico is sharing his screen. I will click on that screen now so everybody can see. Oh yeah, the hosts thing.
Yeah, okay.
So last time we discussed a couple of things, including optional dependencies, which were kind of an obstacle during installation. Second, the database configuration. So there is no database template. Also, the database configuration didn't specify any hosts, which differs. The behavior differs on Linux and Mac OS 10 apparently. So I'm using Linux, and if the configuration doesn't specify a host, it's just resolved to localhost, and on Mac OS 10, you see an error, right?
Well, on the Mac, we were getting, I don't know, an interesting error. Was it over here, I think? Was it aborted or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It was aborted, yeah.
That's the optional dependency. It should be gone now. You can also pull the recent master, because that particular issue should be fixed.
Okay. I'll do
that. But maybe there's another issue now. I'll come to that as soon as you see.
Yeah.
Well, there's one more service which is necessary to run now after the Similarity Visualization was deployed. The service that starts to recalculate the similarities.
Oh, right. I think you were talking about that on the channel, right? So I think you updated this, right? You took away the graphics?
Exactly. So first it took away the graph viz thingy, and you can see there's one more backend service now running Sidekick.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi. Is it L?
Yeah, Lasse.
Lasse?
Yep.
Hi, Lasse. I'm Robert. Welcome.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you very much.
Thanks for asking me to join.
Of course, you can always join any Hangout in Agile Ventures.
Yeah. Is this your first time, Lasse?
Yeah, in this one, yes. I've done a little bit of pairing, but this is the first one. It's been a little tough with the time because I'm in California, and most of those things are like on like 4 a.m. my time.
Yeah, I know. We're not very friendly for West Coast people. Some of them do get up early, real early, and join us. But yeah.
But it's 9:15 here.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Germany, Berlin.
Ah, Germany. Okay, I'm Danish.
Oh, fair enough.
Old neighbors.
And it's 2:12 here. I'm in Kansas City.
Kansas, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, had you set up this project, Lasse?
Say it again?
Have you set up this product yet? Not this product. This project.
Locally, no, I have not yet set it up.
Okay.
Let me see here. At least not that I know of. I've been kind of looking into the different ones. Is this the one where you fork it first and then? Sorry, I'm a little...
Quite. You don't. Normally, you don't have to fork anything in order to install it.
Okay, just a good clone.
What operating system are you on?
I'm on the Mac.
On a Mac.
Yep. I'm just keep cloning it.
Yeah. You need a couple of dependencies, and Federico and we went through the installation process last time. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think we fixed a couple of things already, but yeah.
Well, that we did not fix that localhost in the database YAML file.
Yeah.
So you will run into that. I think
Okay.
Let's see here.
So Docker Compose is running right now, so it's setting up.
I'm not quite sure. I'm not using the Docker Compose myself, but yeah, try it out. Tell me.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just following following the instructions on the website.
Yeah, yeah. The Docker file is not, if the Docker installation is not able to run the tests right now, that's also one of the issues.
Bundle
fix the Docker setup in order to run tests.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm just doing it locally then. I'm just doing the bundle and that stuff. So I'll do that while we chat. That's fine.
All right. Yeah, I think all you need is Ruby, Postgres, a recent version of Postgres, by the way.
Yeah, I have one locally running.
I think you need Postgres 9.6, and
let's see what I have.
And some node dependencies like Ember, Yarn. Okay.
See, I have Postgres. It just says latest. Let's see what version that is.
The bleeding edge version is 10, but you need is 9.6.
9.6. Is that required?
Kind of. I haven't tested it with 9.4, so I think 9.4 is at least required because we're using a certain feature of Postgres,
Okay.
which is available starting with 9.4.
Okay. 9.
And the build server has 9.6, so it's 9.6 the version which I can tell should be running.
Okay. Let me just let that run on Docker here. 1 second. Let's see here. Let's just do that one. Okay, and then CD front end yarn. Okay, well I should be good. It's pretty straightforward here. So I don't want to keep you guys from what you were already talking about. So just go ahead, and I'll just run in the background here.
It's all right. There was no dedicated agenda or something. We were also asking ourselves what we want to do in the meeting. I was just suggesting that we could talk a little bit about, make a short retrospective about the recently deployed feature and how to improve that one.
Okay.
And I mean, Federico I think you were just now doing something or sharing a screen and showing something on GitHub.
Oh, on GitHub, yeah. It's because we were talking actually about the setup for a Mac and how it does cause a little bit of a problem in that database file. Yeah, here. So we were talking about converting it. So the problem is in the database YAML file, you'll have to add this line, host localhost. I think it's like on line 9. And you said you are running it locally. You are setting it up locally.
Me, yeah, yep. I'm working on it right now. Cool. Is there a requirement on the Postgres port that it has to be 5432, or can I do another port?
No, there's no requirement on the Postgres port.
Okay, cool. Because I already got the newer Postgres running on the 5432, so I don't want to, it's colliding.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Okay, cool. I guess it's just a setting in Rails, in the Rails database.
Yeah, we don't have anything to do with that. How does the Postgres adapter in Ruby figure out which port to use?
You can set a port. I know that, but I don't know if
yeah, of course. Probably
like
it's the database YAML. You can yourself.
I just don't commit it. Mess up for other people.
Yeah. So.
Shall I show the recent feature, or is there something that you want to show us, Federico?
No, I think we could make sure to get to that.
All right.
Yeah.
Then I'll share my screen. If I find the button for it, turn camera off. No, that's not what I want.
You know, all the way over to the left, the green button.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was it was once on the right side, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and it looked different. Now it doesn't look like a screen sharing button. It looks like I don't know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it used to be more intuitive.
So it's basically this one here. So I don't know how much you understand the application, Lassie. Basically, this is just let's say data visualization. People can sign up. We have the public broadcasting fees here in Germany and in Denmark as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how the situation is in Denmark, but I think there's a legal opt-out yet, and there's no legal opt-out here in Germany, and I think in Austria as well. And yeah, well, this is the reason why many people are very upset about it, because they simply have to pay, and they don't have they don't get a say or something. So the idea is, let's just collect their preferences. How would they like to distribute their fees? Which broadcasts?
Yeah.
So you can just click on participate now, and nothing happens. It does. Okay, and then you have some broadcasts that you can support, and in the next step you would then. Am I logged in? No.
Broadcasts. Let's see, default. Okay, I got to do a little.
And then you can, for example, I don't know, like a certain broadcast, and I can distribute my fees, and this data is then collected. Someone else is sharing the screen.
Yes, I was, but
Federico's sharing it. Yeah.
As long as you're locked into your screen, that's fine. I thought I was sharing it before, but yeah.
Yeah, you are screen sharing. Stop, present to everyone. I have to click a button. I didn't notice. Sorry for that.
So which screen am I looking at? Looking at Robert's or Federico's?
I think right now we are looking at Federico's.
Okay.
No, but I just did that. But you were in the middle of presenting Robert, so go ahead.
What? Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
I say you go, Robert.
This is fun, Derek.
Okay. I think I can. There we go. Right. Okay. Yeah, I have to. Now everybody's seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to manually switch the screen on the lower right. Okay. So, and in the end, you have this table, and this is basically it. And that is already quite interesting data, because the broadcasting corporations could take the data and improve the program and see, okay, what would people actually like? And if they do so, the payers of the broadcasting fees get their influence, and that's what they want. So that's the problem that's going to be solved here. And in order to improve this effect, that people maybe get a say or influence the program, there are also a couple of data visualizations. And I deployed that one, which is a similarity visualization. Probably you know the Amazon feature. Other users have bought this and that product.
What kind of database is running this these nodes?
That's an interesting question. So,
as it looks like a graph.
Exactly. So it is a graph. So every node is a broadcast. The color encodes whether this broadcast is a radio broadcast or a TV broadcast. So for the blue ones are TV broadcasts. Those are broadcasts on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And the light blue nodes are radio broadcasts.
Okay.
And if two broadcasts are similar to each other, they are connected. And there is a weight on the edge.
What defines that? What defines the similarity?
Exactly. And so you probably know from Amazon this feature. Other people have bought that item, right?
Yeah, right.
Recommendations.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same thing. So the similarity measure here is the Jacquard index. And it's very, very simple. It's just the intersection compared to the union of two sets.
Mm-hmm.
You just divide those.
Jacquard index, okay.
Okay, and in our case, these two sets are the sets of the supporters of broadcast A and broadcast B.
I see.
So when you click on support, you will come up. If you click on support, you become a supporter of a broadcast. So when I click, actually, I don't like any of those. No. Not either. That one, for example. Okay, so now it became supporter of that particular broadcast. And every broadcast has a group of supporters. And it's very easy, and you can just compare the intersections between broadcasts.
Okay.
Right? And then you get a certain value, and that value is the so-called Jacquard index. And depending whether the Jacquard index is very high, the nodes get connected tightly. So here you can see that there's a long edge.
Mm-hmm.
The Jacquard index is not that high here.
I see, okay.
But this cluster here, well, but yeah, if two broadcasts are very close to each other, then they are very similar.
Okay.
And then what you can see is, I find this quite interesting. So, for example, that one, it's all radio, and they are all broadcasts of a particular radio station, Deutschlandfunk. So apparently what you could say, or a statement you could derive, is the people who like this station like all other broadcasts of that station, but nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one way of interpreting this. Another thing that you can see is that the media types, internet, radio, or TV, have a correlation. So this part here is all TV. The online broadcasts are somewhere at the border. So you could say, okay, people who like online broadcasts, they don't like TV or radio that much.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them.
I'm having trouble setting up the database here.
And there are a couple of radio and TV stations mixed in here, light blue dots, right? Kind of interesting. And it looks really well, by the way. So if you think, probably you don't know any of those broadcasts, but
no, I'm not big in radio.
the results are very obvious, I would say. So these two, for example, are children's broadcasts. This one is a children's broadcast. This one is a children's broadcast. Wow. Okay, we have sport. So this one is about sport. This is actually a sport comedy. This is sport. This is sport. This is sport. What else do we have? Well, and so on. So the results are really good. I was kind of surprised. It's not that much data we have in our database right now. We have, I think, 860 users, which is, well, it's something, but it's not massive data. Yeah. And yet you get really good results. I was surprised.
It's a good sample size, and I think the visualization does look pretty nice. Very good. If I could just interrupt you, Robert, make sure you do this on the database YAML file if you're having trouble, Laze.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was written as a string or as a. Yeah, I'll try that one because it keeps saying it wants to connect on the Unix socket rather than the local host. Let me try that. Yep, that worked. Okay, thank you. Nope, no, it did not. What's going on here? It's not accepting the localhost part, and now it wants to connect on the old port again. It's weird. What's this adapter chrono model? I don't know that
one. Maybe I'm not very attentive, but so I didn't notice that you're in trouble, Lasse. So which no.
Let's see.
Are you sharing a screen right now, Lasse?
No, I'm not. Okay, let me share my screen.
That was just me. This was me just telling him to
show me what I'm struggling with here. Where's mine? There. Basically, I'm getting this connections on the Unix domain socket, even though in my I didn't share my whole screen.
So right now the Hangouts menu is in front of your terminal, but there was something like could not create database, blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. It's 1 second. I wasn't sharing my whole screen. I was just sharing my my terminal. So I put this localhost here in the host, and then the port, of course, I had to change because I'm running on Docker.
I think we're seeing the Hangout window only.
Oh, you've seen the Hangout window now? That's strange. I shared the whole screen.
We see a tunnel.
Your entire screen. There we go. So now you see my...
Yeah, we see your editor here, Adam.
Okay, yeah. Is this the localhost? Do I write that as a string or as like this?
It's all right. It's all strings. So also the name of the database, for example, is also a string. You don't have to do this.
Oh, I see.
You need to do this if you want to escape certain characters.
I see. Okay. And then when I write in the terminal here, because I had to put the environment variables, it says that it wants to connect on the Unix socket rather than localhost.
For example, I don't need to set environment variables. If you have the default user, that's fine. And it says database Rundfunk backend development already exists. One way to solve that is to delete the development database.
Oh, 1 second. All right, let me try that.
But it also says couldn't create database.
Yeah, it says here could not connect to the server, no such file or directory but it says here it wants to connect on Unix domain socket rather than and 5432, but I've set the port to 32769.
Oh, okay.
So are you still trying to run the Docker installation, or is this
No, I'm just trying to do it locally now. I gave up on the Docker.
It's local installation.
Yeah, and then I'm just trying to see what's in there. 32769.
You can also delete data or drop databases with the Rails command, bin/Rails, db-drop, and so on.
It says 32769 localhost, but somehow I can't connect to it. That's strange. Oh, localhost.
Localhost. That's actually a good name.
Localhost. Okay, we did create the database. That's strange.
The crazy host.
Yeah, loca. Database. I'm trying to set it up again from scratch. Okay, let's try this now. Yeah, it still does something.
So it created the database development, and still it can't connect.
Yeah, it creates the database, but somehow it tells me it can't connect on the right port, even though it created the database on the right port. That's strange. Is that like one of these other setups?
The host, you configured the host only for the development database.
Right.
Oh, do I have to do it for default?
Yeah. So this is the YAML style of don't repeat yourself. Default is a set of configuration, and the rest is just overwriting these configurations. Exactly.
Let's try. Oh, right, because it does the backend as well. I gotcha. Okay, that's what the error was.
And now you can also say in front of db create just db drop. That doesn't hurt at all. It will just drop databases if they exist. But it just went fine.
Yeah,
Great.
It looked like it. Yeah, now I got backend test and I got backend development. Okay, nice. The migration seems to be run as well. All right, so I seem to be set up. Let me go to the next step here.
Cool.
Sorry to hang you up there.
No, that's fine. We were troubleshooting that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you needed a couple of terminals now.
Do the seeding here for a second. Does it all work now?
Do you want to start a new terminal?
That gives me. Yeah, I'll just
up to you. It's just you need 2 backend services and 1 front-end service, and either you use Foreman.
Oh yeah, I have to do that again.
Or you just open 3 terminals and run the commands.
Yeah. Let's see, yeah, I'll just do so I see them all at the same time here. I can split them over 3. There we go.
Yeah. So the folder and the directory layout is as follows. There is the folder backend having all the backend code, the folder frontend having all the frontend code, and the folder features for full stack end-to-end tests. So what you're going to do is to run the server right there. You run Sidekick. This is new, by the way. This has become necessary with that very visualization that you just saw, because the Sidekick is and Sidekick needs Redis, of course.
I need Ember too.
I forgot to write that down in the README.
I need a Redis.
Yeah.
Okay, set that up as well.
Sidekick is a service. You know Sidekick?
Yeah, I mean it's a job processor, right?
What process?
Job, like it processes jobs.
Exactly.
I haven't really used it, so I don't really know much about it.
It solves the asynchronous problem with Ruby. Everything in Ruby is very synchronous, and if you have some kind of long-running job and you don't want to have that done during your request, you can just start a backend job.
Right.
And the similarities are computed every time someone supported a broadcast, for example, because then maybe there could be a little change. And the calculation takes like 2 seconds, which is already quite a lot for a request.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to do that every time. Well, you want to do that every time, but it shouldn't block it shouldn't block the request.
What's it saying here about my? Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. Of course, it doesn't know what Redis is because I don't have any Redis.
Yeah, that's something we have to put into the README.
Yeah, I'm just working through the README one step at a time. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm getting Ember as well. I didn't have Ember on my computer.
Nice.
I'm slowly getting set up here. I got the Rails server running, so that's step one.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a good start. I was trying to run Sidekick, but it said, I guess it errored out that there's no Redis.
Exactly. It just needs to connect to a Redis server, and that's it.
Where's the config for Redis?
I think there's none. It really doesn't need any configuration files. It just needs Redis. That's it.
I was thinking about the ports because now that I'm running it in a Docker instance, it probably wants to do a different port. You know what? I can just reassign the port to default. Let's see, S6379. Should be fine. Yeah. All right. Let's try that again. Yeah, that looks like it works.
That looks nice.
All right, so we got Sidekick, we got Rails. I'm just waiting for Ember. Yarn is taking forever.
Yeah, Ember is sometimes taking some time. Oh, well, there it goes. And in the meantime, I can tell you a little bit about the technology stack. It's a single-page application, and Rails is in the back end, Ember.js in the front end. And for pretty much every feature, you're doing changes in the front end and in the back end. So, for example, for the visualization you just saw, the back end part is the computation of the similarities.
I don't have Ember. Why don't I have Ember? Is it Ember CLI that you have to install?
Oh, yeah.
Anyone know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like that instead, right? Sorry,
you're not
I'm sharing my screen.
Stuff, yeah. You did
Ember-CLI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ember CLI. So that's the global command for Ember.
Right, okay, let me install that. Okay, go ahead, Robert, sorry.
And so the computation of the similarities is done in the backend. The similarity is just a table in the database. You have 2 columns for the ID of the broadcast, foreign keys, and 1 value, the similarity. That's it.
Okay.
And the computation is just iterating through every broadcast, getting all the supporters, making intersections, doing some math, and storing the result in the database.
Right.
And the front end is implemented with D3, and I can show you. Where it's from. So.
Do I need to run a Cucumber as well, or is that just for testing purposes?
For testing.
Okay, so I'm not doing that right now.
Okay.
Looks like I'm up and running now.
All right, nice one.
3,000.
D3.
Ah, crap. What does it say? No password supplied? All right. Yes. Have to do the Postgres password.
So this is the D3 part, which I kind of copy pasted, and it doesn't have labels, and it doesn't have this feature that you can see the nearest neighbors. That helps sometimes if you have a large graph. Right. But as you can see, the data behind it is very simple. You have a list of nodes, and you can say which color it should have by just assigning a number. And then you have...
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's simple.
source, target, and the value, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And D3 is doing the rest for you.
Okay, wow, that's cool.
So basically, all it does when you hit refresh here is it just grabs the data, or it requests the data from the backend. Yeah, so it just requests the data from the backend.
And that's in the Ember application running on the front end, right?
Exactly. The Ember application is running the front end, and here is your nodes and links response. And the links have all the different broadcast IDs. And that's it, more or less.
And that's formatted on the back end. It's just basically simple database call that formats the data and then spits it out to Ember.
Exactly. It's just rendering dedicated JSON for Ember and for D3.
I spelled something wrong. I'm just having issues getting up and running here.
Show us your screen.
Yeah, I think I have to do an end file just to have. It seems to want to constantly have the database variables. I thought I did it right, but let's see. This is what I'm getting here on PG connection bad, fatal password, authentication failed for Larson. Backend.
So you would want to configure for Postgres, for the user Postgres.
So if I do in .env file, it reads it automatically, right?
Yeah.
Actually, there's one here.
If you put it in your...
Already existed.
No, so that's the end.m file for the... Is it for the...
It seems like it'd be for the whole application, not even just for the backend. It's for everything. They won't read that in
when you start the... oh, you have it already. So you have Postgres password, Postgres user, Postgres.
Yeah, when I'm running it, it just says that it can't.
It says Lasse Larsen?
Yeah, instead of the user. Yeah.
So that should work because those are environment variables.
Yeah.
And
can you double check that I set them on here? Let's see, Postgres.
You're so close. Everything
username. Username, a user.
So note to myself, we have to fix the database configuration.
Oh, username, not user. I wrote it wrong.
Oh, yeah. This is it.
Just a little typo there. All right, now it should run. Okay, well, that ran anyway. Let's try that. All right, I'm on Rails.
Nice. So if you open localhost port 4200, you should see the application up and running. Yeah.
I see. So this is the Ember application that runs on its own horse.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The setup was successfully finished.
Yes. Wow, we're in. And this is a single page application that runs with everything in Ember? Or, like, it doesn't do anything Rails? Rails just does the API part?
Exactly. Rails is just the API
the back end, yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
Oh, and you can log in, no worries. You can log in with your Google account or whatever. When you're running the Ember application locally, it's setting up another environment. And so you're not going to touch the production database.
That's really cool. There's something I wanted to learn about is these authentication flows and things like that, because I'm still fairly new to the whole developing bigger applications. I used to just do websites and smaller things.
Yeah.
So and I just started. I took that ESAS course. I'm still working on that. So this is really cool. Like I'd really like to learn how this is done more in production environments, because like most tutorials they skip over the security parts.
Oh. Well, the authentication flow in our case, we're using auth0. Did you heard about them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're using them, and so the front end authenticates at auth0 and sends the token back to the backend.
Right.
Yeah, this is pretty much.
You have a session control or something like that on the back end that handles the.
On the red side, it's using knock, and it's very easy. It's trying to decrypt the token, and it can only, the security comes from a shared secret between our auth0 server and the backend server. The backend server is only able to decrypt the token if it was encrypted with by auth0.
Okay.
And in that case, immediately, if there's no user, for example, it's just create one.
Right.
And that's awesome. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. There's no sign-up page. That's handled by auth0. You don't have to figure out social logins by yourself. It's all there. All you have to do is to get this authentication flow, and yeah, the rest is just there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, if you want, I can show you how this auth0 screen looks like. Let me just log in.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm not quite sure. Right, so now I'm logging in with auth0. So there's a dedicated page, and come on. And we have two different environments. So one for production and one for development. And for example, if I switch to, they also changed their UI. I don't find it right now.
Is it on the clients, perhaps?
Switch tenant. Oh no. So, for example, there was a new sign up by Lasse Merkedal Larsen 3 minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
Right? And yeah, everything I want regarding authentication I find here. So they already. So that's the users. Yeah, there we go. So, for example, if I would want to make a GitHub single sign-on or social login, I just click on that button here, and it would be there.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it helps us a lot.
Yeah, and it takes away the worry about like having to invent a good authentication flow because they've already done it.
Exactly. So
cool.
As long as you can trust the encryption and decryption of this JSON Web Token, you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, and you don't have to worry about anything anymore. That's the best part.
And
they have as open source plan, so we don't have to pay anything. We only have to show this badge on our site.
And you save the user in the database as well, or you save just some information on the user, not the whole user itself?
You get the ID. So you get in this token is the auth0 ID of the user, and we are storing that one and nothing else, because and you don't have to worry about sign up or login or something. If there is no user yet, you just create one.
Okay.
Because the user was already authenticated. You don't have to re-authenticate or something anymore. Any request to the backend, which is valid, will either log in or will either pass if there's a user already, or create one and then do the job.
And the auth0 goes to the user's controller?
No, the auth0 just goes to every controller. So there's one callback in the, I don't know exactly where. Let me see.
Like when you're signing up, because I just signed up with the auth0.
Yeah.
And it sends you back to with the token, right?
Yeah, exactly. It sends you back to the token.
Where does it
all you
go
have to
on
do
the
is to
controller side?
include knock authenticable into your application controller. And what happens then is that in the user, here. So this is the relevant part. If it can decrypt this, the payload of the token, it just either tries to find the user or just creates the user.
Okay.
If there is none. And that's it. And then it returns the user.
I see. Okay. And you were saying something, you call it knock? Can you show me what that is?
Knock is the gem.
That's a gem. Okay, I see. And it's based. Oh, it's not officially. It's someone else that did it for us.
Zero only has third-party libraries.
I see. Okay.
I don't know if they support anything officially. I think they only support the React integration officially, because that's what they use. I think also this lock, so the widget that you just saw is written with React.
Okay, cool. Right, that's nice.
Yeah, it saves us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I can believe that. Cool. All right. Well, go ahead with whatever you feel like you want to talk about. I'm set up and ready to go, so it's all good.
I would say the only thing I would mention is how to improve. I mean, I just showed you the way how it works. I think this is everything I have to say about it.
Is there an issue tracker or something like that where
there's a lot of issues, and I can introduce one more issue, which is not yet in the issue tracker, but this came to my mind recently. So I showed this to, for example, my brother, and he said, "Well, this is just too much. I cannot see anything. There are too many connections.
It'd be good to filter them out.
I just want to see the strongest connections and nothing else. I want to have it more, how do you say in English? Summarized?
Summarized, gotcha.
I don't know. So
you'd like some kind of filter through it, I would assume.
Yeah, show me less.
You kind of show less, right? So you can control exactly how many. Like if he doesn't want to look at the TV ones, then there's no point in showing the TV ones, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one way of doing it. So this is now on my own machine, and what I'm doing right now is I'm manually running the job that computes the similarities with different patterns, and I'm just increasing the threshold of the similarity score. Okay. Maybe I'll show the part of my.
The development environment doesn't have any nodes by default.
Exactly. So
you have to. Because I was just staring at blank screens. I was wondering how to set that up just to see it locally.
Did you support any broadcast yet? Support 2 broadcasts, and you will see the very first similarity.
I see. Okay, let me try that.
If you, the user, support 2, those 2 broadcasts have each a group of supporters. That would be you, and the similarity score would be 100% because both groups match.
Gotcha.
Right?
Nope, still not working. Okay, let me try something else.
So can you see something actually?
Right. distribute the budget.
See. Huh?
Where are we?
Yeah, so I'm now showing my terminal, and what I'm doing now is I'm just creating, oh no, I just say similarity compute all, and increase the threshold. The threshold is the minimum similarity that you need. Plus, in order to avoid noise, I'd say every broadcast should have at least 5 supporters already. Because otherwise, oh yeah, by the way, you won't see anything because the default value for that is, I think, 5. So you would need 5 users, and then it works, because it's exactly avoiding this edge case that you have only one supporter for broadcast.
Right.
Right, and then you get bad results. So I say 5 people at least at minimum, and the threshold of 30%.
That would be great to set up in just in the seating, just seat up a couple of users and support a couple of broadcasts.
Yeah, exactly. There are some seats, but there are no. The user didn't support any broadcasts so far, I think. That would be awesome if we would have that. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Exactly. So I just ran this job, and we have now 46 similarities. Before we had more than 500. So it should be less. And now I'm sharing browser window again. All right. You can see the old graph, but if I hit refresh, yeah, it's
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's also interesting, but only the strongest connection are visible now. So there are political talk shows, those 2 here, children's broadcasts, broadcasts about the zoo, Deutschlandradio again, political comedy, politics and culture actually. These are 2 broadcasts that are about culture, and so on. So good results indeed, but less, and more distinct clusters. So the bottom line here is, I would say it would be great if we could, if the user could define the threshold, right?
Oh yeah.
There's some given filters.
Yeah. Something on the front end, right? To some type of UI to help them easily update it.
Some kind of filter selections or something like that.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it yet.
Or maybe like a filter flow or something. Even before you get into the visualization, it's kind of what are you interested in kind of thing. Something like that, or different ways of doing it.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it, but I could, for example, imagine like something like a slider from 10% to 50% or something. And if you click on that slider, and if you move if you drag it, it will update this graph. So the slider is defining the threshold. Does that make sense?
Well, the threshold maybe is more of a technological term, but the user doesn't necessarily know what that entails. But if you're saying, for example, the threshold is about user supported, right? How many users are supporting each broadcast?
Yeah, so maybe like common supporters or something.
Right.
How big must how big is the intersection compared to the entire thing?
Is there a way to put that more in user terms rather than technological terms?
Hard. That's hard.
That is the
We would
conundrum
need that
we always
here
do.
probably next to it.
Yeah. If there's a way to define that in more layman's terms, that would be great.
Yeah. So this is the first problem, I would say, how to communicate that to the user.
Because at first sight, you don't really know what you're looking at. Other than you see this nice graph.
Absolutely.
I'm not even sure. But it doesn't really define. Let's see here. Like when you look at a histogram or something like that.
Yeah. You sit in front of it and you think, what the heck am I looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Yeah. I'm not as that's actually also one thing that to improve, like give some explanation. So the only explanation you have right now is if you look at the description below the header, the broadcasts shown here are connected if their supporter groups intersect. The underlying similarity measure is also called the jacket index. Different colors encode different types of media. That's it. I don't know if that's enough. I actually doubt it.
It's enough for someone who's really interested in the data, I guess. But if you want to actually use it for something or get some kind of understanding from it, I'm not sure that is enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see the data, but you don't know how to really work with it. It would be great if you could work with it somehow. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how to fix that problem or how to address that problem, like how to communicate it properly so many people can understand it.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I've worked in a long time. Before I became kind of self-taught developer, I worked with UI.
But you're my man.
User experience. And it's about simplifying the complex, like developers kind of live in the complex environment because of data structures and all this stuff. And a lot of times it gets lost in the flow of just the average users looking at it. It's like, yeah, it looks pretty, but I have no idea what I'm looking at.
True.
And it's kind of, it's translating like for example, one of the companies I worked for, one thing we did internally was that we developed languages that we spoke, so we understood each other, because developers would speak to the graphic designers and no one would understand each other because it was kind of like, technological terms, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I know colors, I know fonts, So we developed these different languages that we could speak to each other, so we actually understood when a developer says one thing, then it means something for the UI designer to implement that in some way. That's pretty cool. And then that goes towards the end user as well. Because once the UI designer understands the technological part of it, they can then translate that into simplifying that into the user interface.
Yeah.
That's something I worked a lot with.
It's probably best to start with the user, right? Start from the user out in terms of defining the language. Is that how you did it, or? Yeah,
exactly. It's basically because the developers knew what they were talking about. So It was about getting the users and the UI designers to understand that. And that was finding a way to simplify it. And it was kind of like everybody had to learn to speak a different language, because it was like UI designers had their own language, where developers were like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know a pretty color. I don't know what that is, So they would have to understand that part as well. And it actually helped the backend developers working on their part as well, because they would start thinking in terms of, okay, well, how do I simplify this towards the UI developers, which means the end user is getting a benefit out of this as well. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Federico, you're right. It's actually going from the other point of view first and saying, okay, well, what do they want? What do they want to look at? How do they want to use this? And how can we supply that to them?
Yeah, maybe I can do some user tests in Berlin. What I do sometimes is to join some technology meetups. and ask people sitting there if they can make a user test with them. Maybe we can do it with, I don't know, 3 people. Ask them, what do you think you see there, and how would you describe it? And then don't some vocabulary.
Even like you can do basically like simple mock-ups of how you would think it could work in a way that, like, how do you translate this data into explaining it to a layman? And then like for example, I like what you've done with one of the other visualizations, like the geographical visualization has a bit of an explanation next to it. Although it says it's an incomplete feature, but it says a little bit like that kind of thing. Like if you had something like that where you could find a way to work with the data somehow. I'm brand new to this project, so I'm just spitballing.
No, you're actually giving very valuable feedback. It's basically the same problems that come to my mind as well.
And it's good to get that new person feedback. So yeah, it's valuable.
Yes.
I would say keep going, but how long do we want to go for the meeting?
I would say this is it. This would be pretty much it. I mean, we had a successful setup. I was talking about the recently deployed feature, and we were talking about how to improve that one. And we can improve it by adding more explanation to it, making user tests, the user-defined threshold maybe, and we still have to figure out how to make that happen. I was thinking of a slider that you can drag, and then the visualization will update. I mean, I would add another. I will create an issue for that particular feature. I also think that this could be a great issue to start with, if you want, Lassie, because as far as I can tell, or the technical solution in my mind would require small changes in both the front end and the back end, and you could, that could be one issue for a startup, for example.
Definitely, and just to kind of get a feel for the whole thing and working with it. I would definitely need a little bit more explanation on the graph and what we need to show and how to work with that in order to, like I was saying, like translate that into more layman's terms and how they can work with it. The more I understand it, the easier it is to implement some kind of mock-up or UI flow that they can click a couple of buttons or whatever, and then they start seeing what they want to see, you know? Whatever that is, if it's a slider or it's a selection box or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just whatever is easiest to them, right?
Yeah, maybe also a couple of buttons. Show me more, show me less.
Right. Like you know, like just you can have a radio button saying TV broadcasts, radio broadcast, you know, like internet broadcast, and they can just kind of select which ones they want to see, or check boxes or whatever, you know, like so they can kind of filter it based on what they're interested in.
That's another issue, for example. Just show me the broadcast that I supported.
Right. Just my own, yeah.
That would be another feature. I can also create an issue for that. So the features are tracked with on GitHub, just in our issue list. Normally I'm writing user stories. I can do that and mention you afterwards.
Sure. Can you see these visualizations when you're not logged in?
Yes, you can.
So that would also give you like a use case for when you're logged in, you get the option to see your own, but if you're not logged in, you just see the general.
Exactly.
Right. And that's pretty cool, because then you know that when you're logged in, you have more you have more options to filter that. It gives you an incentive to be logged in and be participant.
True. Absolutely right.
Like you were saying, if you can see what you've supported and how like how many supporters they're getting, and I mean even getting numbers on there too. Like how many supporters does this show have? It's kind of like a popularity contest on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Like, could you do something where you're hovering over a node and it gives you a little bit more information about that broadcast?
Yeah, you can. Of course you can. There's the geographical visualization. What's implemented right now is that it's showing the neighbors, which is useful if you have a large graph.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot see the tooltip right now. Yeah, it's not. The tooltip is not broadcasted to Hangouts. I can see a tooltip, and it's just showing the title again.
Oh,
of course,
okay.
You can have a tooltip with more information about it, or you click on it and then something happens, like you get an info box or something. That would
right, exactly. Yeah, this little pop-up that says that this is a TV broadcast. This is has that many supporters. It's this country or something like that. You know, like a little bit more specific information.
Yeah. That would be another great issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll leave it for the 3 issues we talked about. Defining the threshold and showing my supported broadcasts in their the similar broadcasts, and also doing having a better explanation of the visualization.
Yeah.
Huh?
And then we can do more for another session.
Yeah. Usually it should such a regular meeting should take no longer than 45 minutes, I think, and it's in 1 hour by now.
Yeah, I took up some time with the setup, so
don't worry about that.
I'm to blame for that.
That's okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Not from my side.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, thanks for taking the time and.
Yeah, of course.
We
can also have pair programming if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like I said, I'm still new to it, so this is it's exciting territory for me, and I'm learning a lot. So even just the pair programming and the testing first and those kind of things, it's something new to me, but I'm very eager to learn.
Yeah, so, I'm a big fan of testing first, and I'm actually doing it.
I'm starting to learn how valuable that is, and it's because I used to just hack away. I'm self-taught, like I said, so it basically just started from like, okay, what do I want to do, and just started typing away, and like errors and everything like that are introduced, and bugs are just completely everywhere. Testing first, definitely something that I'm seeing how important it is, especially when you're building something that gets bigger and bigger.
I can only encourage you to do software testing. When I started software testing, it really changed my life. Really, at least my way of programming. It has so many advantages, and it has so many advantages that people don't think about.
Yeah.
For example, it's structuring your code. So I usually don't have an idea. So I just know the abstract goal, or I know where I want to get to, but I have no idea how I should structure this in terms of code.
Yes.
And I don't have no idea, but I'm writing a test case. I'm writing a test case. Okay, what I would expect at some point, like the result, for example. Usually you're writing a test case and you have some kind of result in mind.
Right.
And then you, in order to write the test, you know what components on the test you need. And suddenly you have the structure of your code at your fingertips. And the tests are going to tell you how you have to write your code. That's what I want to say.
Right, yeah. No, I find also that like when you test first, you write less code. You actually write more test code than you write code.
Yes, so I don't know how, I have never compared it with lines of code, but I know from experience that I'm spending 70% on writing the software tests,
Right.
and 30% on writing the actual code.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm doing a pair programming on Solidity and Ethereum, and it's insane. Our test script is like, I think it's like 150 lines of code, and the actual script itself, the Solidity contract, is about 30 lines.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, that's nothing special, not at all.
Yeah. Whereas I used to do the opposite, you know.
Yeah, of course. But
You know,
yeah,
especially a lot of if and else's and all that stuff. But yeah, I love, you know, just to iterate a new point, I love to do pair programming. So, you know.
Yeah, that's also something you learn a lot. If I ever become a manager of a software company, I will highly encourage people to do pair programming. That's the best you can do in order to transfer the knowledge among the team.
Right.
So we need to make you a manager of a software company, Robert.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
I said we need to make you a manager of a software company.
There you go.
I'm making a manager?
No,
Make
we
you
need
a manager.
we need someone to hire you.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
Are you guys full-time developers?
I'm self-employed. So I basically do what I want. I recently finished my master thesis. So my previous life was main part being a computer science student, and next to it I was working as a self-employed developer to pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm probably just continuing on with working as a self-employed developer because it's actually working well. And in the past, I was working for a bigger company between bachelor and master.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
And you,
so
Federico?
Yeah. So I just launched a very, very tiny software company, just me out here, and mainly what really eats up my time is graduate school at Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of volunteer work here at Navy. I'm a mentor here at Navy. Yeah.
I think you're doing a lot of volunteer work at Agile Ventures, right?
Yeah, I need to take a break. But
got a little too much. But it's a good learning experience, though, is it?
Oh yeah, I think
working with these apps and different kind of projects where you actually get like real life experience rather than having to come up with something yourself or clients that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the mission, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing, if I can mention, Robert, just because Laze brought it up, we did have and speaking of Agile Ventures, we did have the Ethereum mob today it would have been 7 o'clock your time. If you're interested, you might want to join us next week. And yeah, we were looking into. We actually didn't get too much into Solidity today, but
so it sounds like 7 p.m.
So this would be 3 p.m. UTC.
Yeah.
UTC. That's 7 a.m. my time.
Right. Yeah. So maybe not a good time
for the early birds. Yeah, it's a little early.
But 3 p.m. should be possible. So that is, it's just 1 hour. Yeah.
What's that? Cool. Kansas time? Like 9 a.m. Kansas time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see.
An hour later, I'll be great. That'll be great. 7 a.m. early. I'm also self-employed, so almost retired. 9 a.m. Topeka. There you go.
All right, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in because you mentioned Ethereum. But shall we wrap up, Robert?
Yes. It's time.
Yeah, and if you guys want to do pair programming, just let me know how we do that. I've been trying to use that Agile Ventures, but it seems like the timing is so bad that when I want to do pair programming, there's no one available. So I'm best in the morning, my time, like 9, 10 a.m., something like that. That's usually, I think that's usually like 5 or 6 or 7 p.m. European time.
So, for example, we can do pair programming tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
Either early or in the afternoon. So, what was your time again? Are you in Denmark right now?
No, I'm in California.
California, you're right. Yeah, you said that in the beginning.
Yeah, so like I think around 5 or 6 p.m. European time is about 9 a.m., 10 a.m. my time.
That doesn't work. But maybe at the weekend. I don't know if you want to do pair programming at the week. Oh, by the way, we should stop broadcasting because we were chatting, and I would just wrap up the meeting, and then we can do the rest, right?
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
That was the RFM meeting at Agile Ventures.